Welcome to FA Cup Files, ESTD 1871, where football's oldest trophy tells its greatest stories. Step into history with FA Cup Files, a tribute to grit, glory, and the birth of the beautiful game. Since 1871, legends have been made. FA Cup Files brings you the stories time tried to forget.
Arsene Wenger, 1996 to 2018. FA Cup wins: 7, 1998, 2002, 2003, 2005, 2014, 2015, 2017. Holds the record for most FA Cup wins by a manager. Introduced a fluid, attacking style and nurtured legends like Henry, Vieira, and Bergkamp. Arsene Charles Ernest Wenger, born the 22nd of October, 1949, is a French former football manager and player who is currently serving as FIFA's Chief of Global Football Development. He was the manager of Arsenal from 1996 to 2018, where he was the longest-serving and most successful in the club's history. His contribution to English football through changes to scouting, players' training and diet regimens revitalized Arsenal and aided the globalization of the sport in the 21st century. Born in Strasbourg and raised in Duttenheim, Wenger was introduced to football by his father, the manager of the local village team. After a modest playing career, in which he made appearances for several amateur clubs, Wenger obtained a manager's diploma in 1981. Following an unsuccessful period at Nancy in 1987, Wenger joined Monaco. The club won the league championship in 1988 and won the Coupe de France in 1991. In 1995, he became coach of J-League side Nagoya Grampus 8 and won the Emperor's Cup and Japanese Super Cup in his first and only year. Wenger was named manager of Arsenal in 1996. His appointment was greeted with little enthusiasm from the English media and his players alike, but he became the first foreign manager to win a Premier League and FA Cup double in 1998. Wenger guided Arsenal to another league and cup double in 2002 and won his third league title unbeaten in 2004. This was the first time an English club, after Preston North End 115 years previously, went unbeaten. Arsenal later set the record for most league matches unbeaten, 49, before losing in October 2004. Under him, the club made its first appearance in a Champions League final in 2006 and relocated to the Emirates Stadium. This move caused Wenger to prioritize the club's finances to meet costs, which coincided with a 9-year spell without winning a trophy. Wenger guided Arsenal to further FA Cup successes in the 2010s. He holds the record for most wins in the competition with 7. He departed as manager in 2018 and retired. The nickname Le Professeur is used by fans and the English press to reflect Wenger's studious demeanor. He is one of the most celebrated managers of his generation, having changed perceptions of the sport and profession in England and abroad. He has been praised for his entertaining, attacking approach to the game, but his Arsenal teams were criticised for their indiscipline and naivety. His players received 100 red cards between September 1996 and February 2014, though the team also won awards for sporting fair play. Wenger also earned a reputation for spotting young talent and developing a youth system throughout his career. Arsene Charles Ernest Wenger was born on the 22nd of October, 1949 in Strasbourg, Alsace, the youngest of 3 children born to Alphonse and Louise Wenger. He lived in Duppichheim during the 1950s, but spent most of his time in the neighboring village of Duttenheim, 16 kilometers 10 miles southwest of Strasbourg. Arsene's father, Alphonse, like many Alsatians, was conscripted into the German army by force following Germany's earlier annexation of the French region of Alsace-Lorraine. He was sent to fight on the Eastern Front in October 1944, at the age of 24. The Wenger family owned an automobile spare parts business and a bistro named La Croix d'Or. In his book, My Life in Red and White, Wenger says that alcohol, brawling and violence of the bistro's patrons sparked his early interest in human psychology. His parents had difficulty looking after their children. The main reason for coming is that I love English football. The roots of the game are here. I like the spirit round the game, and at Arsenal I like the spirit of the club and its potential. Wenger's arrival at Arsenal was greeted with perplexity by some of the club's players, supporters, and the local media. Although he was touted as a future technical director of the Football Association, FA, he was relatively unknown in English football. Glenn Moore's report in The Independent, dated the 24th of September, 1996, highlighted the mood. It is a measure of the insularity of the English game that when Arsene Wenger's name emerged as Arsenal's favoured candidate for their vacant manager's job, many supporters were asking, Arsene who? Unlike his predecessors, Wenger was given control over transfers, contracts and training sessions, and the Arsenal board chose not to meddle in team affairs. One of his first acts as manager was to assure the experienced players they had a future at the club, but he noted the squad was a bit tight and needed competition for places. Wenger adopted a hands-on approach to training sessions which energized the squad and made steps to change the drinking culture that afflicted Arsenal. Although he initially allowed players to have a pint of beer, they were forbidden to drink on days off and in the players' lounge. He later banned his players from casually drinking together. Wenger also promoted pasta as the pre-match dish, encouraged boiled chicken instead of red meat and discouraged junk food. Players received optional vitamin injections and creatine, which reduced fatigue and improved their stamina. Wenger's first match was a 2-0 away victory over Blackburn Rovers on 12 October 1996. However, he did suggest 1 or 2 changes to Rice in Arsenal's UEFA Cup defeat to Borussia Mönchengladbach on the 24th of September, 9 days prior to taking charge of the club. The interference upset club captain Tony Adams, who on his first meeting with the man. Malicious rumours concerning Wenger's private life surfaced during November 1996, to the extent that the City of London reported that his exit from Arsenal was imminent. Having returned from a trip to Strasbourg to visit his parents, Wenger attended a press meeting and strongly refuted the claims, "If something comes out that is wrong, I will attack. It is a serious matter if you can just create things that are not right." Arsenal's press officer Claire Tomlinson, who was present at the news conference, recalled Wenger phoning the next day and demanding why he could not take action against the press for printing the story. The culprit responsible for spreading gossip in the city later apologized to Wenger. During this, Arsenal had led the Premier League, but poor form in February 1997 caused Wenger to rule out his team's chances of winning the title. They finished third in his first season, missing out on UEFA Champions League qualification to Newcastle United on goal difference, the tiebreaker used to determine the ranking between teams equal on points. In preparation for the forthcoming season, Wenger took the Arsenal squad to Austria, which would become the club's usual pre-season base. The players were given a night out as a reward for vigorous training, which midfielder Ray Parlour revealed was spent at a local pub with the other English players, while the French lads headed to the coffee shop and smoked. "How are we going to win the league this year? We're all drunk and they're all smoking," he recollected. Wenger continued to fine-tune the squad during this period. Having vetoed John Hartson's move to West Ham United in February 1997, he convinced French teenager Nicolas Anelka to join Arsenal. He raided his old club Monaco to acquire the services of Christopher Wreh, Gilles Grimandi and Emmanuel Petit. The latter two were defenders, but Wenger thought both were capable of playing in midfield. To address the shortcomings of playing expansive football, winger Marc Overmars was purchased from Ajax, while Paul Merson moved to Middlesbrough. Wenger assessed Arsenal lost the Premier League because of their poor home performances, and felt they needed more pace and power. Arsenal began the 1997-98 season well, but struggled in November, though they beat Manchester United at Highbury without the suspended Dennis Bergkamp. This was their only league win throughout the month. Defeat at home to Blackburn Rovers left the club in 6th position before Christmas and seemingly out of contention for the title. 133, striker Ian Wright was booed off by supporters over his performance, which he responded to by criticising the crowd from the dressing room window. Wenger called for an urgent team meeting, where home truths were spoken, fingers pointed, players were G'd up. The squad dictated how the conversation went, which the senior defenders made it clear they wanted Vieira and Petit to provide cover. Such was the likelihood of Manchester United going on to retain the title. Bookmaker Fred Dunn paid out on punters with 2 months of the season left. Arsenal steadily closed the gap, however, and victory against Wimbledon in March 1998 set up a title clash between themselves and the reigning champions. Wenger in the lead-up to the game maintained it was possible for Arsenal to win the league, stating 2 or 3 weeks ago, "The title was just a dream for us and people laughed when I said we could still do it." He suggested Manchester United were responsible for making the title race interesting. At Old Trafford, Overmars scored the decisive goal to give Arsenal a 1-0 win. The victory was followed by 9 consecutive league wins, the last of which was a home fixture against Everton that secured Arsenal's status as champions. Wenger became the first foreign manager to win the double when his team beat Newcastle United in the 1998 FA Cup final. Wenger sanctioned Wright's transfer to West Ham in the summer and made Anelka his first-choice striker ahead of the 1998-99 season. His decision not to bolster Arsenal's attack, coupled with Bergkamp's fear of flying, meant the club entered the Champions League with just one recognised striker. Their time in the competition was brief, making an exit at the group stage, with their domestic form being indifferent. Needing to strengthen their attacking options, Arsenal signed Nwankwo Kanu in January 1999, and his presence reinvigorated the team as they embarked on a run similar to last season. They finished second behind Manchester United, however, losing their slender advantage once they lost their penultimate match. United also eliminated Arsenal in a FA Cup semi-final replay after extra time. Wenger afterwards said, "It was a smashing game, and in the end, the luckiest one." In August 1999, Anelka joined Real Madrid, having threatened to strike if Arsenal did not grant him a move abroad. Wenger used a portion of the proceeds generated through the Anelka sale to fund the build of the Arsenal training centre, expressing his desire to establish a home away from Arsenal. He renewed his forward line by signing Davo Uka from Real Madrid and Thierry Henry, who joined after 7 injury-interrupted months at Juventus for £11.5 million. It was Wenger's intention to partner Anelka with Henry, but the former's departure meant the plan was scrapped. The following seasons were comparatively barren. Arsenal again exited the Champions League at the group stage, but dropped down to the UEFA Cup. Wenger guided his team to the final, where they lost to Galatasaray on penalties. In the league, Arsenal finished 18 points behind Manchester United as runners-up, and though they closed the gap to 8 points in 2001. They never posed a serious title challenge. The trophy drought continued past 2001, when Michael Owen scored 2 late goals for Liverpool to beat Arsenal in the FA Cup final. Wenger rued his team's inability to make possession count, but refused to blame individuals, namely Henry, for missing chances. 2001 to 2006, second double, Invincibles, and leaving Highbury. The cup defeat prompted Wenger to make changes to his squad. He signed young England internationals Richard Wright and Francis Jeffers, midfielder Giovanni van Bronckhorst from Rangers as a partner for Vieira, and convinced defender Sol Campbell to join from local rivals Tottenham Hotspur on a free transfer. Campbell's arrival strengthened a defence which was going through a transition phase from 1999 and 2001. Steve Bold and Nigel Winterburn moved on in this period. Club graduate Ashley Cole displaced Silvinho as Wenger's first-choice left-back, while Lauren acted as Lee Dixon's understudy. Midfielders Freddie Ljungberg and Robert Pires, brought in during preceding transfer windows, had now established themselves into the first team. The 2001-02 season brought much success as Wenger led Arsenal to the double once more. The crowning moment was the win against Manchester United at Old Trafford in the penultimate game of the season. Sylvain Wiltord scored the winning goal to secure the club's 12th league championship and third double. 4 days earlier, Arsenal beat Chelsea 2-0 in the 2002 FA Cup final. The team scored in every single league fixture and were unbeaten away from home that season. Wenger appointed Vieira as club captain following Adams' retirement, and made few additions to his double-winning squad, signing defender Pascal Cygan, midfielder Gilberto Silva and utility player Kolo Touré. He was confident his side would retain the league and told the media, "Nobody will finish above us in the league. It wouldn't surprise me if we were to go unbeaten for the whole of the season." Arsenal set a new top-flight record in their opening game of the 2002-03 season. A 2-0 victory against Birmingham City was their 14th league win in succession. They continued their fine start by overhauling Nottingham Forest's top-flight record of 22 away league matches without defeat and later surpassed Manchester United's Premier League total of 29 matches unbeaten. Arsenal lost to Everton in October 2002, which began a run of 4 matches without a win. Though Wenger's team built an 8-point lead over challengers Manchester United by March 2003, they were overhauled in the final weeks of the season. The title race shifted in United's favour when Bolton Wanderers came from behind to draw 2-2 against Arsenal. Wenger showed moments of exasperation during the match by loosening his tie and bellowing orders from the touchline. Journalist Phil McNulty wrote that Wenger's demeanour spoke of someone who had the title in his grasp but now saw it slipping from his fingers. Arsenal beat Southampton 1-0 to retain the FA Cup at the end of the campaign. During pre-season, Wenger arranged a meeting with the players to examine why they lost the league. Martin Keown felt the manager harmed their chances by boasting they could go the season unbeaten. "Look, I said that because I think you can do it. But you must really want it," was Wenger's reply, as he believed the squad had the right mixture of technique, intelligence and physique. Arsenal did little transfer business given the financial demands that came with their new stadium project. Their only major signing was Jens Lehmann, who replaced David Seaman as goalkeeper. Wenger retained his best players, despite interest shown by Chelsea's new owner Roman Abramovich. 6 games into the league season, Arsenal were involved in a brawl against Manchester United. The ill feeling stemmed from Vieira's dismissal late on.
Thanks for tuning into FA Cup Files, where every cup run holds a tale, and we're here to tell them all. From first whistles to last-minute winners, FA Cup Files will be here, uncovering football's finest. Subscribe and stay with us on FA Cup Files, where the magic never fades, and the legends live on.